All right, I'm on. So we were going to open the Planning Commission meeting for November 18th at 6:34 p.m. We'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All by myself. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So at this point, we'll turn it over to Angela for a roll call vote. A roll call.
Roll call. That's all right.
Getting ahead of myself.
All right. Commissioner Parker,
Here.
Commissioner Journey,
Present.
Commissioner Stevens,
Here.
and Commissioner Wolthius.
Yes.
I love it. We're making it work. All right. So at this point in the hearing, this is the portion. If anybody wishes to speak on anything that's not on the agenda for this evening, go ahead and address us now. As there's no one online and no additional persons in the audience, we will move on to our meeting minutes from November 4th. Are there any corrections, changes, alterations for the meeting minutes?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes as written.
Oh, shoot. Henry, I just hung up on, hold on, I just hung up on Henry by accident.
Technical difficulties. I will be abstaining.
Sorry, Henry, I hit the
Oh,
wrong button.
I'll
My
be
apologies.
abstaining from the vote as I was absent from the last meeting.
That would be you.
Okay, so they're voting on the meeting minutes.
We have a motion from Commissioner Stevens.
I second to accept the minutes as written.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now we'll go to Angela for a roll call
Okay.
vote.
Commissioner Wolthius.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Journey,
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens,
Yes.
Commissioner Parker.
I abstain.
Okay. Okay, it passes.
All right, so we're going to open our public hearing for this evening for application CU 21-12 at 6:37. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow for a single-family dwelling in the recreational commercial. Let me start back over. In the recreation commercial zone, a residence use is not related to or in conjunction with a recreational development. It is allowed per conditional use permit. Sweet Home Municipal Code 17.60.030. The subject property contains approximately 11,089 square feet and is in the recreation commercial zone. The applicable substantive criteria are listed in the staff report. Testimony, arguments, and evidence must be directed toward the criteria described or the other criteria in the plan or land use regulation which the person believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes the appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. So with that being read, do any of our commissioners have any personal bias against this application?
No.
No.
None.
Okay. Any conflicts of interest?
No.
No.
I have none. I don't know if Henry heard that one.
Henry, do you have any conflicts or ex parte?
No.
Okay. Do any of our other commissioners have any ex parte information?
No.
Angela,
Yes, Henry.
I have
No.
none.
write down on a piece of paper my home phone number, which is 541.
I have it, Henry. So,
Okay.
yep.
If you lose me, my cell phone isn't very dependable.
Okay. All right.
So call me back on our home phone. It's sitting right here by me.
Okay.
All right. So with that being out of the way, we'll go ahead and Angela for staff report in regards to our application.
Okay. As Chairman Parker read, this applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow for a single-family dwelling in a recreation commercial zone. In the RC zone, a residential use not related to or in conjunction with a recreation development is allowed per conditional use. Based on the FEMA firm maps, this property is not in the 100-year floodplain. This subject property does not contain wetlands that are inventoried in the Sweet Home Local Wetlands Inventory or National Wetlands Inventory map. The subject property has frontage along 59th Avenue, and the property has access to city sewer services in 59th Avenue. The property would have to run approximately 330 feet of water line down Andina to access city water services. The applicant is requesting this conditional use permit to allow for a single-family dwelling in the recreation commercial zone, a residential use. Oh, sorry, I already said that. Staff finds the site, size, dimensions, locations, topography, and access are adequate for the needs of the proposed use. Per the staff engineer's comments, because the 59th Avenue pavement is on the east half of the right-of-way, the driveway length required for the city hard surface approach public portion will be about 50 feet to reach the property line. On the private side portion, the standard 20-foot depth will still apply. So the provisions of the Sweet Home Municipal Code allows for the Planning Commission to impose conditions of approval. This is an opportunity for the Planning Commission to determine if conditions are needed in order to ensure compliance with the decision criteria as well as the best interests of the surrounding properties, the neighborhood, and the city as a whole. As specified in Sweet Home Municipal Code 17.80.050, conditions could include but are not limited to expanding setbacks, limiting hours of operation, requiring site or architectural design features, imposing additional site standards, and so forth. And this application is approved. Staff recommends the Planning Commission impose no conditions of approval as there are no potential impacts which need mitigation except for procedural conditions to assure the single-family dwelling is as represented by the applicant. As required under this section, the conditional use permit shall be void 1 year after the date of Planning Commission approval if the use has not been substantially established as defined under Sweet Home Municipal Code 17.80.070A. Within that time period, as stated in the Sweet Home Municipal Code, the city planner may grant one extension of up to 1 year for a conditional use permit that contained a 1 year initial duration upon written request of the applicant and prior to the expiration of the approval period. Requests other than 1 year requests made prior to the expiration of the approved period must be approved by the Planning Commission. A conditional use permit not meeting the above timeframes will be expired and a new application will be required. Conclusions and recommendations. If the Planning Commission approves this application, staff recommends that the conditions of approval listed below be required in order to ensure that the application is consistent with the findings in the review and design criteria in Section 3 and as required by the Sweet Home Municipal Code and other provisions of law. Appeals to the Land Board of Appeals, LUBA, may be only based on review and design criteria listed above. The recommended conditions, if the application is approved: 1, the construction and use of a single-family dwelling be conducted in a manner consistent with the representations made by the applicant and in the application and hearing process. 2, the applicant shall provide the proposed property with its own water and sewer services. The access and utility easements shall be clearly identified. Upon development of the proposed parcel, the property owner shall construct all applicable street, sidewalk, and storm drain improvements that are required by and according to the provision of the Sweet Home Municipal Code at the time of development. The applicant will be required to sign a development agreement with the Community and Economic Development Engineering Services Department for the unimproved roadway. All public improvements must comply with the standards listed in the Sweet Home Municipal Code at the time of development. The new property lines shall be situated so that all buildings and structures comply with the yard setback requirements of the recreation commercial zone. 5, the property owner shall obtain and comply with all the applicable state, local, and federal permits and requirements. Planning Commission action. In taking action on a conditional use permit, the Planning Commission will hold a public hearing at which it may either approve or deny the applications. If the application is denied, the action must be based on the applicable review and design criteria. If approved, the Planning Commission may impose conditions of approval. Staff's recommended conditions are included in Section 4. Appeal period. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission's decision on the matter be subject to a 12-day appeal period from the date of the notice of decision is mailed. Order. After the Planning Commission makes the decision, staff recommends that the Planning Commission direct staff to prepare an order that is signed by the chairperson of the Planning Commission. The order would memorialize the decision and provide the official list of conditions, if any, that apply to the approval of the application is approved. Motion. After opening the public hearing and receiving testimony, the Planning Commissioner's options include the following. 1, move to approve application CU 2112 which includes adopting the findings of fact listed in the staff report and the conditions of approval listed in section 4 of the staff report, the setting of a 12-day appeal period from the date of the mailing of the decision, and hereby direct staff to prepare an order to be signed by the chair to memorialize this decision. Move to deny application CU 2112, which includes adopting the findings of facts. You must specify, including the setting of a 12-day appeal period from the date of the mailing of the decision, and hereby direct staff to prepare an order to be signed by the chair to memorialize this decision. 3, move to continue the public hearing to a date and time certain, or 4 other. And just a note, if you read the engineer's comments, so they don't have to run a water line to connect to city water. They can provide a well to the property because the water line is so far away. So if you didn't see that in his comments.
Okay, and they also, I think I heard you read that hard surface from the existing street to the property line.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, do any of our commissioners have any questions on the staff report?
Question?
No, I've got a question. Because I did have a question about that 350-foot water line, but I didn't see where it says that a well would be allowed.
So we can put, that's one of the areas in the city that there is a well, and there is.
As long as they maintain the distance from the hardline sewers.
Maybe I missed it. So on page 4D, the very last sentence says staff finds that the applicant will need to extend city water line to the property or dig a well. I might have missed that sentence, sorry.
Is that the same as, does that apply with a septic tank also?
We don't allow septics in the city.
So they'll
They're going to have to run the 350-foot line to get the sewer, is that correct?
No, there is sewer already there. Sewer's there, just not water.
Oh, okay, I missed that, I'm sorry.
That's a win-win.
Okay, if our commissioners don't have any more questions for staff, this time I'm going to invite our applicant, which is actually here tonight. Thank you for showing up. If you'd like to say anything, you can. If not, don't worry about it. So that is your choice.
No? Okay.
Okay.
Are we addressing the concern of the lumber mill with the trestle? Oh,
so I think Commissioner Wolthius is referring to the letter that was sent in by Murphy Plywood. If it's okay with you, Angela, I'll go ahead and read it.
Go ahead. Jeff's going to read it.
Murphy responded, to whom it may concern, the only concern that we have from the Murphy Company would be to not interfere with the use of the track and trestle adjacent to the subject property. While the track isn't currently in use, the potential exists that it could be in future it could. So I don't think we're moving a property line,
No.
so it's not affecting right of way
No, the property line's far enough away
of the
that it
rail
shouldn't
line.
affect it.
So I think they just did their due diligence in submitting their written response.
I wonder if we can add just some wording that the property owner would not remonstrate against the rebuilding of the trestle. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
I can.
Were you guys
Since
able
that
to
was brought
hear what
up,
Henry
and
was saying?
It's a potential in the future, but that's an important one.
Did you hear that, Greg and Eva?
I did. Is that something we need to address with the property owner?
Well, I don't think it's going to be a problem because it's far enough away from all of it. And their property lines I don't have a map up, so I can't tell you how close it is, but that's up to you guys.
So basically, I think Henry's stating that in the future.
I would favor some little wording to that effect. That should the trestle ever be rebuilt, that there would not be any remonstrating.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Do you want me to, does that need to be added as a condition of approval? Would the commissioners want that added as a condition?
I would favor it.
Henry seems to think it does. I don't know how they would have any legal recourse to stop the reconstruction
You know,
of it because
people don't want the train in their backyard, but sometimes that's the way it has to be.
yeah, especially since the train existed prior to.
So I think it's prudent to put some language in the conditions of the permit, just because if this ever does come up as an issue, none of us will maybe be around, and it's just good to have a record that we talked about it and recognized any potential wrinkles that might come as a result.
So have it
I
in,
agree.
so have it in the minutes as part of a record in the minutes, or?
Are you guys requesting that it be a condition of approval? Or just be on record?
Well,
What does Henry want?
He wants language in there, so how we put that language in there, and it can be in the minutes, and we can also, you know, when it comes to building permit time, we can add that in the building permit. They need to make sure that they don't encroach on any of that.
yeah, I'm okay with it being in the building permit if Henry's okay with that.
Henry, do you mind it being in the building permit processing?
I don't mind as long as we've addressed it.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for staff?
No,
Okay. With that being said, we'll close the public hearing at 6:51 for discussion amongst the Planning Commission. All right. Does anybody have anything that?
so just as a question, all the other houses along the south side of Nandina there, are they all on wells?
A lot of them, yes.
Uh-huh.
The ones toward the end of Nandina have water, but it doesn't extend all the way down, so they're on wells.
Anybody like to make a motion?
Are we going to talk this amongst ourselves, or are we just going to?
That's where we're at right now. We've closed the public hearing for discussion.
I don't see any problem with it myself.
Okay, I don't. It seems to be one of the few properties in that area that's not currently developed yet. It's much larger than most of the lots around it, especially down the end of Nandina.
So I'll make a motion to approve application CU 21-12, which includes adopting the findings of fact listed in the staff report and the conditions of approval listed in section 4 of the staff report. The setting of a 12-day appeal period from the date of the mailing of the decision, and hereby direct staff to prepare an order to be signed by the chair to memorialize this decision.
I second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second, so we'll go ahead to Angela for a roll call vote.
Okay, Commissioner Parker,
Aye.
Commissioner Wolthius,
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens,
Aye.
and Commissioner Journey.
Aye.
Okay, 4
All right.
ayes, motion passes.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
So at this time, I talked to Chairman Parker. We won't be doing draft code tonight. I have something I have to get to, and Blair is in quarantine. So this meeting's gonna be done after this public hearing. So
I'm so disappointed.
Oh, man.
Nice to give you guys a break, but yeah, we just have too many things right now, and so we wanted to get through the public hearing so these guys didn't have to wait and then have to call it. We'll do the rest of the code at the next meeting.
Okay.
All right. So at this time, we're
Sounds
going to
good.
close our Planning Commission meeting for November 18th, 2021 at 6:55.
All right, thank you guys very much.
Thanks,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving. Have a good Turkey Day.
Yeah, thank you, Henry.
You too.
You bet.
All right.
Well, I guess I participated in the meeting, so I
Yep.
don't even have to be excused.
Nope, you were at the whole meeting, so thank you so much.
Yeah, I'd rather be excused than be AOL.
Yeah.
Have a good night.